In the occupied part of Donetsk Oblast, a power struggle continues between the Kremlin's curator of the captured territories, Sergei Kiriyenko, a protégé of the Russian GRU, and the leader of the so-called DPR, Denis Pushilin, a talking head of the FSB. As Petr Andryushchenko, head of the Center for the Study of Occupation, reported on his Telegram channel, DPR deputy Tatiana Bondarenko was arrested in Moscow in connection with a case of large-scale embezzlement. According to Andryushchenko's sources, Bondarenko was a front man for the transfer of bribes to the so-called Deputy Minister of Construction of the DPR, Yulia Mervaezova, and Pushilin himself is moving further and further away from the throne. They'll come for him soon. What a wonderful revenge from Sergei Kiriyenko, writes Andryushchenko. In mid-September, Russian media reported on Mervayezova's arrest in connection with embezzlement from the Russian Ministry of Defense. She was detained in Pyatigorsk and transferred to Moscow. It was reported that the damages in the case involving Mervayezova could amount to approximately 5 billion rubles. It should be noted that in February, Kremlin dictator Vladimir Putin excluded Pushilin from the State Council Presidium, while Kiriyenko, on the contrary, found himself on that board. Since then, so-called DPR officials have been lining up to see Kiriyenko, who has begun appearing more frequently in the occupied territories. Recall, GRU is Russia's military intelligence agency. The GRU traces its roots to an organization that was set up after the 1917 Russian Revolution and evolved during World War II into the GRU. The GRU outlasted the Soviet Union and has played a key role in multiple Russian operations on foreign soil in the years since. In 2010, its name was officially changed to Main Directorate, but its former name is still widely used. The GRU is headquartered in Moscow. It is structured along 15 directorates. 4 of these directorates are region-specific. 3 of them focus on the European Union, Asia and Africa respectively, and a 4th runs intelligence in the Americas, the United Kingdom, Australia and New Zealand. The GRU's 11 mission-specific directorates focus on a variety of topics, including military technology, NATO, space intelligence and the Spetsnaz. Federal Security Service, or FSB, is Russian Internal Security and Counterintelligence Service, created in 1994 as one of the successor agencies of the Soviet-era KGB. It is responsible for counterintelligence, anti-terrorism and surveillance of the military. The FSB occupies the former headquarters of the KGB on Lubyanka Square in downtown Moscow. The FSB, the largest security service in Europe, is extremely effective at counterintelligence. Human rights activists, however, have claimed that it has been slow to shed its KGB heritage, and there have been allegations that it has manufactured cases against suspected dissidents and used threats to recruit agents. At the end of the 1990s, critics charged that the FSB had attempted to frame Russian academics involved in joint research with Western arms control experts.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán said Friday he did not support Ukraine joining the European Union. Hungarians do not want the Ukrainians to be in the European Union. I also deeply agree with that, he told the country's state broadcaster. According to Associated Press, Orbán, who has frequently blocked Ukraine's road to the EU, said that Ukraine's fate is to live next to Russia, a fate that Hungary does not want to share. We don't want a common fate with them, he said. Orbán also said he does not have to care about the opinions of other EU member states on potential Ukrainian membership. Every nation has the right to decide whether it wants to be in a union with another nations. So Hungarians don't have to care what the other 26 member states say, he said. While most EU countries have offered political, financial, and military support to Kiev since the beginning of Russia's invasion in 2022, Hungary has charted a starkly different course, refusing to supply Ukraine with weapons or allow their transit through Hungarian territory, demanding sanctions relief and rapprochement with Russia, and adopting a combative stance toward both Kiev and its EU backers. Instead of membership of the EU, Orbán proposed a strategic agreement between the bloc and Ukraine. He said that nothing would change his mind on the matter.
Ukrajna uniós tagságáról szólt. Miben lenne más ez a mostani aláírásgyűjtés, és mi a cél ezzel?
Egyenként mindenkinek joga van ahhoz, hogy a saját népe eldöntse, akar-e egy másik néppel egy közös unióban lenni. Tehát a magyaroknak nem kell törődni azzal, hogy mit mond a másik 26. Nekünk a saját véleményünkkel kell törődni, azt kell tudnunk, hogy mit akarnak a magyarok. És a magyarok, miután meg is kérdeztük őket, és mindannyian elmondhattuk a véleményünket, a magyarok nem akarnak egy Európai Unióba lenni az ukránokkal. Ezzel én mélyen egyetértek, mert hiszen ha egy szövetségi rendszerben vagy valakivel, akkor osztozol a sorsában. Ukrajna nagyon nehéz sorsú ország. Miért kéne ebben a nehéz sorsban osztozni?
Mi a fő célja ennek az intézkedésnek tulajdonképpen? A családok anyagi helyzetének az erősítése, egy erős középosztály felépítése?
Nem akarunk velük közös sorsot. Az ő sorsuk az, hogy Oroszország mellett élnek, és folyamatosan háborúban vannak az oroszokkal. Ezen mi nem tudunk változtatni. És az nem segítség, hogyha mi a nyakunkba vesszük mindazt, amitől ők szenvednek. És én Magyarországot meg akarom kímélni attól, hogy egy szövetségi rendszerben lévén az ukránokkal, ha felveszünk őket, akkor mi is háborúba legyünk az oroszokkal. Még egyszer mondom, előbb-utóbb katonákat kell küldeni, ha egy szövetségi rendszerben vagy valakivel, és azt megtámadják. És mi nem akarjuk a fiataloké, nem akarunk meghalni Ukrajnáért.
Tegnap egy új videó is kiderült egyébként arról, hogy mit tervez, vagy mit tervezhet. Mi a fő célja ennek az intézkedésnek tulajdonképpen? A családok anyagi helyzetének az erősítése, egy erős középosztály, a tiszapát.
Tehát én azt javaslom, hogy kössünk az ukránokkal stratégiai megállapodást, segítsük őket. Az Unió, meg az ukránok között legyen megállapodás. Van ilyen a britekkel, van ilyen a törökökkel, és ez nem példátlan. De ne vegyük fel őket. Nekünk ehhez jogunk van, és akármit találnak ki, ezt nem tudják megváltoztatni, mert ehhez a magyaroknak, mint minden más népnek is joga van.
Gyermekes anyák SZIA mentességéről és a nemzeti konzultációról is kérdeztem Orbán Viktor miniszterelnököt. Gyermekes anyák SZIA mentességéről és a nemzeti konzultációról is kérdeztem Orbán Viktor miniszterelnököt.
They are convinced that they are right. You know, they have a war plan. They have a plan how to beat the Russians. Many of these countries were never occupied by the Russians. Yeah. So they don't have physical, personal experience. What does it mean to have a war with Russia? They were never occupied by the Russians. We were for 40 years, you know. So we know what is at the stake. But those guys who were never under the supervision of the Russians has an appetite to beat the Russians on the front line. We know what the war machine of Russia looks like. So we don't like the idea. So we have a peace plan, but the others has rather a war plan. And that confrontation happened, how we think about the situation, how the war plan makers are thinking about the situation. So the views are very far away from each other. No, there is no pressure on us.